Hi everybody, Yara here. I hope you are all well. Now, I want to briefly talk about what this video is about to make it not too long. So, this is a collaboration yet again with Amanda.Shertzer, and if you haven't heard about her, go to her YouTube channel, and now I'm going to spell her last name out because last time I butchered it. So if you want to find Amanda, who is a brilliant channel and I love her very much, please check her out. So it's Amanda on YouTube, I mean, and her last name is Schertzer, which is S for Sierra, H for Hotel, E for Alpha, R for Romeo, T for Tango, Z for Zulu, E for Echo, and R for Romeo, Schertzer. Now, this particular channeling and video is actually in direct link to an episode I did on Awoken TV. Actually, what had happened, I had set this topic months before and I came to the point of doing it. And as I'm squeezed in a particular time frame of 30 minutes after I finished it, I was literally flooded with more information about 5G and what would happen if it were enforced, let's say, or sold under a false flag, and what impact it would have on the physical body, on Earth, on flora, on fauna, and everything else. So I was, well, the makers were not sort of banging on about putting it out. I just felt there was more. So, I mean, I will not certainly be reproducing the same channeling as this. There might be different information coming through. Now, Amanda has also in the past worked around the theme of 5G, so she will bring through her transmission that will be inserted in this video, and I will bring through mine. Now, also just a quick note, my sort of something has happened recently and my channeling has changed. So I'm not quite sure what I'm bringing through, if it's actually my greater self, what I'm want to call myself for the moment, or if it's the makers. The makers is a consciousness field that is the all, because we are all and one, but yet, I'm not going to go into that. Usually I bring the makers through, but more recently also what I might term my higher self or my greater self. It's up to you. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to get into the zone and see what the makers or my higher self wants to say about this. Okay, love you all. Okay, hopefully you find this informative, what Amanda and I have, or I will, and she has brought through. I love you so much, and don't hang up, it's coming. Bye.
Dear ones, we are a collective consciousness, currently not embodied, which some refer to as the Arcturians. We are not a council per se. We are a different dimension or aspect of existence. And we've been asked to speak today on your thoughts surrounding the 5G platform. We would begin by saying that humans attempt to increase the speed and efficiency at which you are able to access information is very much tied to and a part of your attempts, perhaps not consciously, to create a mechanized sort of telepathy between you all. In other words, instead of sharing one mind, instead of becoming one physically, you are using the internet as a repository for your thoughts and ideas and knowledge. And you are attempting to give everyone access to this repository. We would say, as our friend Cryon stated, this is an example of gears and levers way of making things happen in your reality, as opposed to going within, removing the separation between you, and becoming one at what you would call a soul level while embodied on earth. However, we have been asked to speak on potential harm that may arise in the next decade or 2 or 3 from an increase in this 5G technology, this increase in towers to increase the access to your particular source of all knowledge, as opposed to the actual source of all knowledge, which is access from within. We can see that the way that your society is structured, you have allowed stressors to impact your physical bodies from many sources. The biggest source of these is your emotional impact upon others and their impact that you allow upon yourselves. In doing this, your body reacts with various illnesses to try to gain your attention, to clear the incorrect thoughts about yourself. When you pile physical stressors on top of emotional stressors, such as the impact of these towers, these frequencies, it adds to the amount of stress placed upon you. And as we are in our nature focused towards the positive, we can only say, continued strain on your physical bodies that is meant to be a wake-up call, so to speak. These things will continue to be put upon you so that you will make the shift, so that you will change your perspective, so that you will go inward and resolve these issues within yourselves that are not in alignment with who you really are. And though the 5G system is not optimal, and to our perspective, not needed, because you have access to the source of all knowledge and all the knowledge you share between all of you. It is just another symptom of the larger problem, so to speak, that you are facing, so that you will go inward and find all the mismatches and adjust them. It will become more and more uncomfortable unless you allow some shifts, unless you allow yourself to see yourselves as you are, unless you allow yourselves to remove the programming and step into a more balanced way of being. And so this 5G network is yet another symptom of a larger problem you are trying to solve. And we would say the answer is for more of you to go within. The answer is for more of you to show compassion, to clear yourselves of programs that tell you you are not enough, because you are the all, and you are all one. We are not saying do not take action in the direction you wish to clean up your planet, to have the earth restored. We are just saying you must do the work within yourselves as well. For that is the biggest indicator of your success. And we thank you.
We are the greater aspect, or higher self, or vaster self of the vessel of Yara. We also have present, or let us say as a backup, the consciousness field of the makers that would be termed also be part of the all, so to speak. Now, the physical vessel has been, let us say, emerging herself a little bit into this 5G thing. And it actually had not been on her horizon a lot, had she not seen what she termed at the time a possible timeline. Though we might correct her now, this is not a possible timeline, because actually this timeline where your 5G is already enforced, that she actually has seen and connected to, it is actually happening. Now, it is a parallel timeline to yours that is, let us say, as everything is running concurrently, how can you say, a little bit advanced in the sense of in the progression of what you might term how it is actually unfolding, how it is created by you at any possible moment. Now, this is as such concurrently existing and actually is, so to speak, is already in existence, and this might be mind-boggling to you, that you are at, let us say, you feel that you're at the point that this is not enforced, and you are at the point that many of you that are getting sort of, well, a little bit brainwashed with it, or let us say it being sold under a false flag, so this can be put in place. Now, you must understand, you always have a tendency, to say, yes, it is the cabal, it is the deep state, it is the baddie, it is, the bogeyman, because you have yourself in every moment of the now, and it's your choice. And this might be shocking to you to say that. Oh yes, but it is your choice to create these sort of bogeymans, to create all this because you want to have this experience. And we know that the consciousness field that this vessel also taps into or connects to, because we are also connected always to the now, has already given you, let us say, through this channel, a lot of information about how we create in the now and how we and you and everybody is creating their own reality as you go. You are literally the ones that are dreaming this up, individually and maybe collectively, in a particular portion that you have sort of what you might say a frequency match to. But it's essentially you. You are so much faster. Hence, you create very vast and architected and deep sort of universes or construct. These are just labels. But you feel now that you are subject to things. And you always forget that you are actually creating these. And now I see so many hands up in the air saying, how can anybody say this? But it also means that you are assuming responsibility and you can change this. So what we want to do is, as some of you, but we are all part of us. But let us say, for your ease sakes, some of you have said that the horse has already bolted, that it's already well underway. But how can he say that if it has not already been manifested? So far, at this present moment, as you're moving from moment to moment to moment to moment to moment, you create and create and create and create. Obviously, you create in such a fashion that you call by default. But you can also create something different from moment to moment. Now, as we are looking and connecting to this parallel, full-blown timeline where this is in existence, we also want to make you aware now. But don't forget, these are labels. We are all together, we are all connected. But let us say, yes, make you aware and ourselves aware what it can do if or whether or when we or you want to create this different construct. But you must understand, as everything is running concurrently, also all your parallel timelines with your parallel selves in it. There is a parallel Yara existing in one of these timelines where 5G was or is enforced at every moment, and you creating this. You enforced it yourself. You just feel that somebody else enforced it. The somebody else that you might call the boogeyman, deep state, or whatever. So you can blame it on somebody, but you are only to blame because you created it. But if you are to blame, then you can also uncreate it, so to speak. You can't uncreate what you already created, but you can create a different reality. We do apologize, that was only sort of a side note. Now, we do want to actually, through that particular parallel self of Yara, visit this and give you a flavor, so to speak, if you wish, then to still proceed and create moment from moment this particular timeline that you all have this little gadget in your backyard, front yard, wherever you might be. And it's actually very not efficient what it pushes out, but it's actually, so to speak, very nefarious, or you might experience it as such. You could also, as such, turn it around and not experience it as such. But that is up to you. The vessel will just check on how many minutes. Now, what we're seeing, what actually 5G represents to you. Why you wanted to bring this into existence. Because it actually is, so to speak, everything, it is sold. You sell it to yourselves, so to speak, that everything is on a platter, that you have your fridge, your stores, your, your movable anything into your homes at one tap on your smartphones that are also then, or will, or are then evolved and attuned to this. It's something intrinsic about your, what you term, human nature. Or your nature wanting to bypass many things to make it so much faster, better. But at the same time, you don't see that actually sometimes faster, better can also have sort of an underbelly. And if, let us say, you want to create something like that, that you feel this is something nefarious, and you create nefarious, it will become nefarious. There is, we also see, another timeline where this was introduced, and it was, you were looking upon this not as being nefarious, so it was not. It depends how you want to create it and view it. Now, for ease sakes, we still will visit or connect to that timeline where it really, as you might say, the horse has bolted and everybody has this sort of frequency emitting little gadget in the front yard because they wanted to make life easier, that everything was centralized, monopolized, and that they, as such, that you wanted to give away your power to a little thing that is then in turn connected to the powers to be, and etc., etc. Now, in that particular parallel timeline, we see that the box, what you call emitting these 5G frequencies, it's only about frequency. You are frequency, everything is frequency. You are a frequency signature, everything is. Hence, frequency will always affect frequency. And we see that on that particular timeline where it's something nefarious and you keep on creating it being nefarious, it will actually have as such a direct impact on your frequency, on your frequency signature, so to speak, that is projected out and given form to as a physical vessel. It also, in that particular timeline or parallel self of Yara, it has also, as there was already fear initially around this, and you wanted to create it as such, as being something nefarious, because you wanted to learn something from that, as did or is the vessel of Yara, because there's no did, it's all happening concurrently. But we will stick to your, let's say, linear time frame now, so you understand it better. Now, these 5G rays completely, let us say, derail the magnetic field in that particular construct of the physical vessel. It also will absolutely disturb what you might call the endocrine system, the lymphatic system. It actually brings this balance to all there is in your frequency and energy body. This in turn will, in that timeline, bring about various cancers, various other forms of non-Hodgkin's. then within your hospitals, they will be treated much differently with very abrasive ways of dealing with the physical body. Also, it will greatly derange, so to speak, the resonance of your planet Gaia, because it is a different Gaia construct that is running parallel and actually will greatly disturb the Schumann resonance. At the same time, also, individuals will experience hair loss as it has an absolute impact on all your frequency and energy body that you are. Also, infants will or are having already very early a disturbed or actually malfunctioning reproductive system. So there will be actually a further increase in infertility in men and women, male and female, as these reproductive systems in these children will already be impacted. This will result as such in the decrease of, let us say, the human population, or let us say you wish to decrease the human population as you're creating this. But we're going to set this aside because that might be too disturbing to many. So this has actually as such a tiny box that is as such working on a very, 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 we see a short perimeter, a nefarious effect, and is actually not as effective as what you term your 3G and 4Gs. 4G already has in your world as such, with some individuals that choose to feel and experience this as nefarious, will have a nefarious effect already in this particular construct of yours that also the vessel is part of and is creating and co-creating all the time by default. And we always say you can jump off the wagon. If you choose to jump off the wagon and create something else, you will create something else. You just so much underestimate your creative powers. You are so much more powerful than you think. But we won't be banging on about this. We are simply telling you what is happening in that particular very, very, let us say, close timeline to yours, as the very polarized construct you created is very similar to this. But 5G has been or is invented earlier and has thus, in that particular very fear-based parallel world of yours, created very fear-based, or you created very fear-based illnesses, as many then started sensing headaches, or we're seeing this headaches, hair loss, disruption of the reproductive system. It is not looking very good. And we also see that such transmissions are tapping into that particular timeline and various others, because there are a multitude of timelines sort of running parallel. They're all running concurrently. And there are some of your individuals in your construct now that start to tap into this increasingly. But what we'd like to say is, having quickly given you a rundown what this might be leading to, and the end effect of this is a runaway effect. The runaway effect is where the complete magnetic structure of your current planetary consciousness, Gaia, and I say this Gaia there, is completely disturbed and is creating what is termed a runaway effect. And one of these effects are that you end up with a red sky. And it's the blood red sky that had been seen by many that have tapped into it. Mother Shipton, there's many others. Many more will tap into this. These are concurrent, parallel timelines of yours where your other selves are living. But what we are saying, as you are powerful creators, you can, at any moment, as creation is from moment to moment to moment, you can create differently. You can take a different direction by choosing something else, by making yourself more aware as such of yourselves. You can shape from moment to moment a completely different world, so to speak. You make it up as you go, but you can make this up consciously. You could think, okay, do we really want to end up with a very similar, a parallel timeline? Because this, what you are shaping and creating all the time, is still very fear-based. It is fear-based around so many things. And allowing yourselves to see that you created also your own fear, doesn't that make you feel more responsible? Doesn't that give you more responsibility? This does not mean that it should as such come to pass again like on that other timeline. It is up to you. It is up to each and every other self of yours in this particular construct, how you want to shape this. It's how you want to also be less fearful and say, no, I do not wish to create this. I don't wish to co-create a similar parallel timeline to that. And it is up to each and every one of us to become aware of yourselves, of one self. One self. Isn't that beautiful? One and self. We are one, but we are many. We'd like to leave it at that because we do not wish to make this too long. We love you so much, and we love ourselves so much, the many selves and the many others, because we are truly only one but many. We love you so much. Goodbye.